Good morning, STSC scholars, and welcome to our walkthrough of chapters 4 and 5. I think this one will be relatively short since there's not a whole lot of assignments that are packed into these two chapters. I am going to address one of the items at length that you're going to start in Unit 5, but it's going to be due in Unit 6, just so you have enough time to actually get it done, okay? So let's take a look. This time I think we'll use class 86011 for the example. Okay. So just like normal, I'm in Canvas and I'm going in from modules. You'll see that there's a reason I'm doing it that way versus just going in from pages or assignments. And then I'm going to go down to Unit 4. Okay, and depending on which class you're in, some of you guys have homework that's due tomorrow. Some of you guys are not tomorrow, a week from tomorrow. And some of y'all have your stuff that's going to be due on Tuesday. Remember, I have it separated by the course, so I don't get everything at one time. Okay, so with one of your assignments, what you guys are going to see is you're going to complete the VARK questionnaire, which is a learning styles assessment. And then you're going to write about your results on the discussion board. So you want to make sure you hold on to those results, okay? Then we're going to go over some different note-taking strategies. And the reason I'm addressing this is because some people are very familiar with a note-taking. They were in programs like Avid, or, they did other types of tutoring. They were explicitly taught how to do it. And then other people were able to get through middle school and high school and didn't have to take notes at all. And that's a rarity at the college level. I do know some people who were able to get through without having to do it. They were very unique cases, but for the most part, you're probably going to have to take notes of some sort depending on what you're studying and the way you retain information. And so we're going to provide you with a couple of different strategies to do that. Just so you have something in your toolkit going forward, and you might discover, oh, well, this style is better for my math and science classes, but this style makes more sense for something that's a little bit more reading heavy, like a government class or psychology class. And there may be ones that you go in there and you adapt yourself. Okay? So what popped up over here is there's a digital textbook. So when you take your notes, you're going to be using it from this page. So that's why I went in from modules and I clicked next, so the next tab would open the book. Because I know some people had some issues with that before and they were like, what am I taking notes over? And it's like, you have to go in from that way so that new tab will open. So we're trying to use like a specific subject that you guys might take. And I'll update that if I need to. See, and it's just this information right here. This is it. Like, you don't have to do any additional pages or anything. It is just literally this page. So you might be using Cornell notes, you might annotate notes, you might do mind mapping. It kind of depends on what style you want to try out, okay? Sorry, it is early. Okay, so see, the book opened already. And then look, there's another tab that's opening. Okay, so this is the VARK Learning Styles questionnaire. Don't click on any of the other stuff on the sides. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to assess how you learn, how you process information, and how you retain it now, because it may look different than, when you were a high school student, or, you were 18 or 19 and now you're coming back to school 10, 15, 20 years later. you've got other responsibilities on your plate. You've got work, you may have a family, um, in addition to school. So so the way that you might process stuff might be differently, and the way that you process information in the workplace might look differently. So the way that I would approach an academic course, let's say like the way I would have studied for like a history course, is not the same way that I study for my my training classes that I'm in right now. So remember, guys, I'm in class 5 days a week too, and my notes taking style is different than what I would have used in classes. It has to be now. So that's something that even I'm having to adapt and use in real life in the workplace. So I think a lot of times we don't think about, oh, we have to study in the workplace, but with a lot of your professions, you're going to have professional development that you're going to have to complete. I have professional development for TCC, and then I've been doing different types of modules and going through like technical guides for my my new full-time job too. So you're going to go through here and you can answer your questions. You can put more than one response because some of us combine the way we learn and retain information. You might learn more than one way. And you'll go in here and you'll put in your responses, right? So this is like somebody who uses like landmarks. And you go all the way through, right? And put like, yep, this sounds like me. Texas Wesleyan is advertising their scholarships. Yes, they do have transfer scholarships. That they toward for our students. Hint, hint. And you see it's not that many questions. This won't take you that long to do. Just whatever you do, don't close the page when you get down to the end. And then we got one more down here. Let's just say we do all of the above. And then you click OK. All right, let's see, how did we do? So my questionnaire results were that I was multimodal. That means I learned different ways. And you can see that because these are my scores. So you see this little box here. This is the information that you're going to need for your next discussion board entry. So I got 6 for visual. So learn by seeing things. So like charts, diagrams, pictures resonate that way. I've got 11 for oral or auditory. So it's learned by listening. So like recordings or talking things out. 4 for reading and writing, so that's like physically writing down and taking notes. So that could look like annotating notes, the Cornell notes, some of the stuff that you guys are going to be working on after this. And then kinesthetic or tactile, that's learned by touch or learned by doing, even learned by teaching others. And you see, based on my sample results, I broke even with the learn by listening and the learn by doing. And that is true for the learn by doing, for sure is true for me, because they always used me to help try to tutor other kids, and I would retain the information by trying to explain it to somebody else. And I was also the kid that kind of got in trouble a little bit at home because I liked to see how things work. So I would take stuff apart because I wanted to look at the wires and everything. I could put it back together. See, that was the difference, Like my parents would walk in the room and they're like, "Why did you take apart the remote control?" And I'm like, "Because I want to see how it works." But I could put it back together, So you'll want to hold on to that. And then what it'll also do is if you go down here, there's some help sheets that'll help you help you learn about your preferences. Okay, so like if you learn by listening. So there's some of the things that what you guys prefer, and this is how you take in your information. This is how you present information to others. So that's important, like if you have a great project or if you have a presentation at work. What this looks like in an educational setting. And what I like here is they also include, what does this look like in a workplace setting? Especially if you're working on a team or you have subordinates that you're supervising. How are you retaining that information at work to learn like a new process? And how are you communicating that information to your team? So yeah, there's some practical skills in here, even though it kind of looks like it's just a school assignment. Okay. See, and what kinesthetic, that's going to be here. Here's how I take in information. Here's how I present it. Here's what it would look like in education. And here's what it looks like at work. Okay, so like I was telling you guys before, with your results, because notice I didn't close out. So make sure you jot those down, you take a picture of them. You can even save them as a PDF. Do not use the PDF weird add viewer thing that's on here. There's some like weird pop-up. But what you can do is I converted it to a PDF. So I just went to right click, print, save as a PDF. See, and it'll capture your results. And as you know, if you're like in Google, you can do the same thing from here. See, save as a PDF. Make sure you pick a folder where you want it to go. And then you save your results. And then there's mine right there. Ta-da, there they are. Okay. Let's continue. And then there's going to be some videos over the note-taking strategy so you can see what they look like. And these are short videos. They're less than 5 minutes. The template for Cornell Notes is right here. Okay, so the hyperlink is embedded in the instructions. This is what annotating notes looks like. So this is what I actually learned this technique at TCC when I was a dual credit student in my English class. So in Composition 1. And honestly, when I first learned it, I hated it, but it is the reason I earned an A in that 5-week summer course as a junior in high school in a college level course. Hands down, like it was effective, it worked. The thing is it's going to take more time on the front end because you're processing information as you go. Okay. And then what I did is I adapted it to my other reading heavy and writing heavy subjects. So I actually used it for my history classes. I used it for government, all the psychology classes I had to take. If you look at my books from my Spanish classes, which I kept all of those, I still have them. It basically looks like I rewrote those books. Like there's notes and post-its and tabs all the way from like 2005 that are still hanging in those books. But it worked. This is what your mind map might look like. So like those different diagrams. Think about science class from like when you were in elementary school and you had all these little like story web looking things. That's what this is going to look like. Whether it's handwritten or you use like some of the stuff that's in Microsoft Word. They have some smart art that you can use to create it. And also the MindJet mind mapping tool, you can create process maps that way too. And then you've got your traditional outlining method. So, that's probably one that you guys are familiar with, where you have the Roman numerals and your numbers and your letters going down the page. And it's kind of giving you a skeleton of the paper. And why are we learning this? Because you've got a paper coming up. And you probably will have midterms and finals coming up, in the next couple of weeks. You're going to need a way to process that information and process it quickly, especially if you have a comprehensive exam. Okay, so your biology test is based off of the information that you read here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take notes over this page, and then you're going to take your little 10-question assessment using your notes. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to test and see, was your note-taking strategy effective for this subject? Did you go far enough to capture the information? That's also why I'm giving you guys 2 attempts, because some people tried 2 different note-taking styles in my previous classes. Like, they would say, okay, I tried the outlining method, and then they took the quiz and they're like, oh, well, that didn't work. I can't read my notes. And then they went back and they tried another strategy, and then they took it again. And then that way, when they did the discussion board, they were able to compare both of them. Are you required to do it twice? No. But I did have some people that opted for that because they were really trying to find what worked, because they had a test for that subject actually coming up. And they're like, well, wait, let me see what's going to work for real. So that's one of those things that you'll do here. And again, it's like 10 questions. It's short. So remember, you can leave the book open. Ideally, the goal of it is to use your notes, because we want to see what your note-taking style looks like. Okay, and then you'll turn in your notes as well. I forgot to mention that you will upload your notes. Okay, and then this is your discussion board, where you're going to take those note-taking strategies. Talk about the note-taking strategies and your results from the VARK Learning Styles Assessment. And just like normal, you'll reply to 2 of your classmates. Here's the initial thread. You just hit reply, and then you'll post your reply. Okay. All right, so like I said, I wanted to keep this video short, so I think I'm going to stop here, and then I'll do Unit 5 as a separate video, okay? All right, guys. So hopefully that helps with some of the information that you're going to be doing with Unit 4. Remember to make sure that your pop-up blocker is off, because the book and the VARK Learning Styles may open in another tab. It may open in another window depending on what browser you're using, because it might behave differently in Google versus Microsoft Edge, Firefox versus Safari. That's the biggest thing I can tell you guys about that. All right, so have at it with Unit 4, and tune in for the Unit 5 video in a little bit, okay? Take care. Bye.